What do you do when it's the end of your draft and all the guys that you know of are gone? You stash these guys. We'll give them to you in a second. Producer. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast right here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. I'm Bigz. I got Grindberg with me. Schultze's producing. He's on the ones and twos. And we are here to give you stash guys. Now, in every fantasy football season, there are guys that they don't get drafted. They wind up on the waiver wire, and then they have a big spike week when week 4, substituting for an injured player, or in week 8 or week 10, what have you. And all of a sudden, there's a massive stampede for the waiver. We're going to give you those guys to stash at the very end of your drafts so you don't have to play the waiver games with these guys. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome, Bigz. It is getting close to the season. Camp is in full swing right now, so we're starting to see a lot of these guys pop in this situation right now. There's a lot of ambiguous situations in the NFL. We're going to be probably talking about a lot of them. We're going to be talking about some, sleepers that we need to get on our roster. Schulte, what are you up to, buddy?
Well, we are recording here on Thursday evening, and there is American football on the TV tonight.
Woo!
That is exciting news. We are not going to have a Thursday without football for a very long time now. So, yeah, let's celebrate that. Good way to point that out, Schulte. That is awesome. It is time to get into this, Bigz. What do you got as one of your first guys that you're looking for later on in your drafts that people aren't really talking a whole lot about? Maybe they're getting a little bit of steam in camp. I'm excited to hear what your top 3 are as all of ours.
Well, in order of least priority to most priority, my number 3 guy is going to be Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Dyami Brown. Now, Dyami Brown started to put a little bit together towards the end of last year for the Washington Commanders. And in the offseason, the Jacksonville Jaguars went and signed him to a free agent contract that was fairly nice. On top of the fact that they, let guys like Gabe Davis go, they need somebody to take the top off the defense. And guess who was a huge, deep threat coming out of North Carolina in 2021? That's Dyami Brown. He can take the top off the defense and allow Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter to work underneath. He's going to be ostensibly the wide receiver 3 or 4, depending on how the depth chart works out with him and Parker Washington. But he's only 25 years old, and he's got a lot of good football left to play. He's been in the league for 3 or 4 years now, and he's about to get his feet really wet in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. So I am prioritizing Dyami Brown, stashing him towards the end of my drafts, usually before I'll take a tight end or a kicker, and rolling with it.
Yeah, man. I think that's a pretty.
And we lost Mike. Mike's. Oh.
I'm right here. I might be at a little bit of a lag, maybe. But I think Dyami Brown's a good shot here. Schulte, you're a Jaguars fan. What's your take on this?
I think it's spot on. I think he's going to be locked in as the 3rd wide receiver here over Parker Washington, in my opinion. They, like Bigz said, they went out and paid him. And this regime is not the regime that drafted Parker. And I think he's a solid, role-playing kind of bench dude. But, yeah, they paid Dyami. And you saw the usage come about last year. And it's going to fit right into what Liam Cohen likes to do on offense, throwing the ball. So it is a little bit of a dampering thing to bring Travis Hunter in, because I was really excited about Dyami, the value we were going to score on Dyami if he would have been the wide receiver 2. Not to complain about Travis Hunter, very excited about that.
Right.
But like before the draft and, after free agency before the draft, I really like this shot at some fantasy value if he had been the wide receiver 2. But I think it still presents itself there as wide receiver 3, because now that Hunter's in the building, it's pushed him down even farther.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, I'm going to get into one of my guys, and he's actually steaming up. So he's not getting, drafted as late as he was when I put this show sheet together. But I'm looking at Cam Skattebo, who isn't your typical fantasy sleeper. He's a blunt instrument built for contact and chaos, and exactly what I think the Giants need. His college career was tearing up the Big Sky Conference, and Skattebo leveled up at Arizona State. He proved he belonged in the Power 5 competition. He wins in foot races. With elite speed. He's got, some, under the radar pass catching ability here. He's, stash worthy. I think he's grinding it out on tape at this point. But if you're looking at what he's doing in training camp right now, he's busting big runs. He's the talk of, the Giants backfield right now. I know Tyrone Tracy, he splashed last year as a, pass catching back, a former wide receiver converted. And, I still think that Tyrone Tracy's got a really good upside this season, but Cam Skattebo is coming under the radar, and he's coming and he's looking fierce. He led all projected day 1 and 2 rookies in first downs per attempt at 33.6%. He has a 1.26 yards per route run, which is great among the running backs in this class. His 7.5 career yards per carry across the programs. He looks great, and he's making people miss in camp. I know it's the Giants defense he's going up against, but I'm looking at Cam Skattebo here to be rising up draft boards. He's no longer a sleeper, but get on him because he's going to go pretty quick nowadays. So get on Cam Skattebo. What are you guys' thoughts on him?
I love Cam Skattebo. You and I, we drafted him in our Undroppables Omega Dynasty League. I want to say he was our second or third round pick. Maybe it was our third round pick. I'm taking Skattebo everywhere I can. I'm getting sniped for him in a bunch of leagues too. Yeah. I do like Tyrone Tracy, but as soon as the Giants drafted Skattebo, my thought was he was going to outwork him in camp and take over as the RB1. So right now he's a handcuff, but at some point I think he's going to take over that backfield. And shout out to the Big Sky Conference. That's my hometown UC Davis's conference, and Sacramento State, where Cam Skattebo started his career. I like to call him Skattego. And also he's from Rio Linda, which is just about 30 miles away from right here. And when I was playing baseball, we played a lot of games in Rio Linda when he was growing up. And so shout out to NorCal, Sacramento area, Cam Skattebo.
Shout out.
Have you made pizza for him? That's the question.
No. Well, I mean,
I'm sure he's had pizza guys before, but not from my store. That's just Brock Bowers.
Love it. All right, Schulte, get into your first guy you got to get your hands on.
Well, Brock Bowers, great segue here because it's Michael Mayer. And he's like not getting drafted at all. So this is a dude you can just snag with your last pick. And the upside is tremendous here. Now, he came into the league and had somewhat of a quiet rookie year. And then they go draft Brock Bowers. So career arc, not great for Michael Mayer. Right? Like this is not like none of this has gone to plan, but none of this is his fault. Like it's hard for tight ends to just jump on the scene and be immediate impact players like a Brock Bowers. So he has his rookie year and they go draft Brock Bowers. And it's not an indictment on Michael Mayer as a player at all. It's holy moly, this dude, like we've got a chance to take this guy and we're not going to pass up on it. So don't view this as the Raiders don't like Michael Mayer, or he's not good because they took Bowers. Bowers is just a step above everything else, and they had to do it, right? So smart football move. But like I said, I'm going to snag a lot of Myers late, and this is not just an opportunity thing for a Bowers injury. This is also a potential trade thing. Like there's a real possibility a tight end injury pops up in camp or preseason or early in the season, and a team is really, really hurting at the position, and they're going to call up the Raiders and check on Michael Mayer. And, really thought maybe this could have been the Dolphins here a few weeks ago, but unfortunately they did what they did because Michael Mayer there would have been fun. Unfortunately, they didn't do it. Anyways, all that to say, just go snag Michael Mayer because when you're drafting this late, it's all about like potential opportunities. Like we're not telling you guys to draft. We're not telling you to draft a dude at, number 250 in your draft who is a first round talent. Like, that just doesn't happen. So like, you got to play the opportunity game, and there's two paths here. There's injury to Brock Bowers and there's a trade. So I think for a last pick in your draft, Michael Mayer has a potential to be a home run.
There are three paths.
Ooh,
3 paths. I don't think that there is any way that the Raiders are going to trade Michael Mayer. They know what they have in Michael Mayer. And if we kind of go into the Wayback Machine, think back to the year that Michael Mayer was drafted. He was drafted ahead of Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid, or at least ranked ahead of those two guys. He was a beast at Notre Dame, and consensus, he was the best tight end in the class. Now, he's more of a traditional tight end than Brock Bowers, but guess who uses a ton of 12 personnel? That's 2 tight ends lined up. Chip Kelly, the Raiders offensive coordinator. So you're going to have a lot of 3 wide receiver sets where Brock Bowers is operating as one of those 3 wide receivers, and then you're going to have Michael Mayer in line as a blocking tight end. So he's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to be playing a traditional tight end role. He may not be in the 100 target category, but as for somebody who's going to contribute some points, if you miss out on Brock Bowers and you're drafting real late in your drafts, go ahead and draft Michael Mayer, especially if you were going to be drafting Isaiah Likely, because I have a feeling that Michael Mayer, fully healthy this year, is going to have a run like Isaiah Likely did with Mark Andrews on the field last year. So he's definitely going to be a point scorer, even if he's not the primary quote-unquote tight end. But then again, Brock Bowers is more of a wide receiver, and he's going to be playing more slot routes and more lining up outside more often. Michael Mayer is going to be that traditional tight end, and he's going to be on the field a lot.
I like that.
There you go. It just reaffirms your call there, Schulte. So he has a Raider hat on, so you might have his ear to the ground there, folks. Okay, well, let's move on, Bigz. Before we get into your next pick, let's hear from our sponsor. And a lot of folks are going down to Southern Bluegrass Fantasy Football Championship in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And let's hear all about it, Schulte.
Looking to take your fantasy football experience to the next level? The Southern Bluegrass Fantasy Football Championship, or SBFFC, is the premier live in-person single-entry tournament east of Las Vegas and is happening in Bowling Green, Kentucky, just north of Nashville and south of Louisville. Join fantasy football diehards for a 2-day draft weekend filled with energy, competition, and community. Expect free beer, bourbon, barbecue, and live entertainment hosted by the Western Kentucky University Dance Team. You'll draft on massive FJFantasy.com boards, enjoy giveaways, and even have a chance to win signed memorabilia and bourbon bottles through raffles and a silent auction. The SBFFC is securely managed through LeagueSafe.com, with all prize money held and paid out at the end of the season and championship round. Winners walk away with stunning Trophy Smack trophies and belts, and of course, lifelong bragging rights. To learn more, check out the official promo video on YouTube and click to visit SBFFC.com for full details. For questions or to reserve your spot, email Dr. Brian Harwood directly at brian.harwood@twc.com.
I want free bourbon and barbecue. Also, fun fact, Bowling Green, Kentucky, not the home of Bowling Green University.
Yeah, I was very surprised to know that as well, Bigz. Yeah.
But there is a university in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and that's Western Kentucky.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
America.
You know what? There used to be 2 football teams here up in Canada, CFL teams called the Rough Riders. So, anything is possible.
If there's anything we know about Canadians is they ride rough.
We are Rough Riders. Yeah, we used to have some pretty good signs for our Rough Rider compadres on the west coast of us. They were our rivals, so you can imagine what we had signed up for them.
Those Canadian football rivalries, we know how those go.
All right, Bigz, let's get into your next guy.
All right, my guy is a rookie running back by way of Oregon, named Jordon James. He's kind of flying under the radar a whole lot because he's in a pretty loaded backfield with Christian McCaffrey and Isaac Guerrero. Isaac Guerrero had some pretty eye-popping performances last year, but if there's anything we know about Christian McCaffrey and Isaac Guerrero, they're injury-prone. if there's anything that we know about Jordon James, is he had a 95.5 career rushing grade at Oregon via Pro Football Focus, but via PFF and their college grading. That was higher than Bucky Irving. He's also one of the youngest running backs in the class. It was him and Dylan Sampson. One of those two was the youngest. The other was the second youngest. He's a legit running back prospect buried behind two very injury-prone players in an offense that has the third highest team run blocking grade in the NFL. So as soon as Jordon James steps out onto the field, he's going to be an instant producer in a Kyle Shanahan offense with a priority on running back performance. And I'm stashing him everywhere.
Yeah, I really like that call, Bigz. You know, Jordan Mason, you like you mentioned, is now gone. You know, Elijah Mitchell is gone. It opens up a lot of opportunity. And we know how that San Francisco backfield has been plagued with injuries, you know, for years and years. So, you know, it's not out of the possibility here that Jordon James could get into a role at some point. And we know what those San Francisco 49ers running backs produce when they have that opportunity. So, yeah, man, that is a great stash. It's a guy that you really want to keep your eye out later on. And, yeah, great call, Bigz. Anything to add to that, Schulte?
No, I'll never fault anyone for leaving a draft with the 49ers running back. I mean, you mentioned the system thing here. Like, this is as much of like a plug-and-play system thing as in the NFL that we've got. And, I mean, yeah, you just take one of these dudes. If they get on the field, they're going to produce. Like, you're not expecting them to be CMC, but if any of these guys get the legitimate full-time workload, like, that's an instant fantasy starter.
Yeah. You saw it happen with Garendo last year. You saw it happen with Jordan Mason last year. I mean, it's just what the 49ers do. Whoever is the starting running back that week, that person is going to have good fantasy finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll move on to my guy, and we're staying in that conference, in that division, and we're going to be talking about a tight end here, folks. We've had a couple tight ends already mentioned, but I'm targeting Elijah Arroyo. He may not be a household name yet, but the pathway to fantasy relevance is clearing fast in Seattle. The Seahawks releasing Noah Fant ahead of camp. It brings, Arroyo suddenly into a depth chart with real opportunity, especially in an offense led by Clint Kubiak, who helped elevate rookie tight ends before. Arroyo's college career was slowed by injury, inconsistent play at Miami. His traits, they do pop on tape. He's fluid in movement, above average in burst, and he's got clear yak ability, now paired with a system that has a history of exploiting mismatches from the tight end position. And now we're looking at Arroyo becoming a surprise asset by midseason at the latest. And here's the kicker. If anything were to happen to Cooper Kupp, who's 31 and he's missed 13 games over the last 2 seasons, the Seahawks will be in desperate need of a pass catcher behind JSN, and Arroyo averaged nearly 2.5 yards per route run in his last 4 games in college. He's shown he can operate as a dynamic seam threat. I'm looking for him to be a guy that is going to be steaming up draft board just because of that opportunity. No offense. Exit. It opens up a ton of targets. And like I said, Cooper Kupp, his injury history, Kubiak, all these things play into this. Look at what Kubiak did with Greg Dulcich. Where's Greg Dulcich now? He's no longer there. He made him a tight end 1 for a stretch in his rookie season. I'm looking for Arroyo to have a very good path here. So, I'm getting him late, and I'm getting him often.
We've seen the tight end environment change over the last 3 years pretty drastically, and it all started with the Michael Mayer, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid draft. There were signs, there were writings on the wall that the NFL offenses were getting more spread out. They're involving tight ends more in passing and in receiving. And that fully came to a head last year with Brock Bowers. And now every team, because it happened with Laporta and because it happened with Bowers, every team is looking for their own athletic big slot / tight end who's going to have a rookie season on the level of Brock Bowers. And there are a bunch of them in this draft. The Colts want Tyler Warren in this season entering with rookie tight ends. The Colts, Tyler Warren is one of them. The Bears are hoping that Colston Loveland is going to be one. The Seattle Seahawks drafted Elijah Arroyo. More on that in a second. And Mason Taylor out of the New York Jets. And then you have Rhamondre Gadsden down with the Los Angeles Chargers. That's literally 5 tight ends that should have an opportunity to jump out there and be high target earners as rookies on their team. Now, the thing about Elijah Arroyo is as soon as he got through minicamp and OTAs, the Seahawks said, oh, we know what we have. We can get – Noah Fant is now expendable. The other tight end in the room is A.J. Barner, who is a more traditional blocking tight end. And Elijah Arroyo, who was the darling of the Senior Bowl when I was down there because of his athleticism, is going to present that athletic big slot / tight end to Sam Darnold, who just got done lighting it up with Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson last year. So big things for Jackson Smith-Njigba and Elijah Arroyo. In redraft, there aren't a lot of tight ends to go around, right? Mostly 12, 15 come off the board in a draft. And then you have this huge stack of guys who are going to absolutely explode, and you want them on your team. That's Elijah Arroyo is one of them.
You mentioned this rookie class too, as well. There's a ton of top end talent in that rookie class. You mentioned 5 of them, and we can't discount Terrence Ferguson either, who's in a really good situation too with the Rams. So we will see how this whole class plays out. I love what you said at Arroyo there, Bigz. Yeah, you nailed it right on the head here. He's got that opportunity, and I'm liking what I see there. Now, Schultz, get into your next guy. Who do you have next on your mustache list? Your mustache list.
And the good old mustache list. Another rookie on board here, which like in redraft, like you get presented a lot of baked in value with rookies because we've never seen them play. And so you can kind of take advantage of that. And when some of these dudes get opportunities, they turn into mustaches. And I'm looking at DJ Giddens. So here's a guy, 4.4 speed coming out of college here. Good rusher. He's got good size. Like he was a workhorse in college. He can continue to take on that role. He's built for it. He's 517 college carries. And he's in an offense he's only stuck behind Jonathan Taylor, who has averaged just over 10 games a year over the last 3 seasons. So there's likely some opportunity for Giddens to get on the field. He's only competing with Khalil Herbert, and that doesn't concern me, especially stylistically. Like I think Herbert could get used sparingly, though. As a pass game kind of guy, I don't think he'll get a ton of the early down work. So Giddens just seems like such a natural fill-in here for Taylor if something happens. And it's a high volume rush offense. We're projecting that out, whether it's Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson starting. So I'm not concerned about them coming out here and throwing the ball 600 times. Like they're gonna push the ball on the ground, and that's what you're looking for. If a guy gets on the field, just get him the dang carries. It's an offense that we've seen Jonathan Taylor put up 10 rushing touchdowns 3 times. He's got a 1,400-yard season. He's got an 1,800-yard season. He's got a season he played 7 games or he was pacing 1,500-1,600 yards. Like the production is there with Taylor year in and year out. The opportunities are there for the touchdowns. Giddens is running back 65 in redraft ADP right now. So take a stab at that. It's similar to the Jordan James thing. Like just take guys who could have a chance, and we've got a realistic chance here for Giddens.
Yeah, I have so much Giddens everywhere.
Yeah, and much like this tight end class, like Big mentioned in the last in the Arroyo segment here, like this running back class is as deep as it's been probably since 2017, and Giddens was one of these guys at the combine that just showed out. He's got the athleticism, and he could have an opportunity. Jonathan Taylor gets used as a workhorse, and I could see that continuing. And if something were to happen to Jonathan Taylor, we know what could happen. They want to keep that high, rushing floor, and I think Giddens can take that opportunity very well. So yeah, this running back class is solid. and I love what I see here. So you know what else I loved? What I love to see, Bigz, is this Hall of Fame game going on, and it's in Canton, Ohio, where I think we're going to be there next week, where Fantasy Sports Advice Network is the main sponsor of the Fantasy Football Expo.
Wait, we're gonna be there?
Yeah, we're going to be there, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you and me, man.
That's news.
Better start planning.
Oh, because it's 6 days away.
Yeah, we'll be there. This isn't a bit. He knows he's going to be there.
I know I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our spotlights here, folks. But before we do that, before we get our number one guys that we want to be leaving our drafts as a stash, Bigz, talk to us a little bit more about what's going on in the Fantasy Sports Advice Network.
Well, at the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, you can find all of the best analysis in the fantasy space, from jokers like us, other pretty sharp guys. There's a lot of written stuff. There's a lot of videos. You can find them all at fantasysportsadvice.com. Go get your membership, because all pro members are they're eligible for a spot in our jersey leagues. Like my Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey league, you want to come. You want to take a chance at the king? You best not miss. Come get that Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey out of my cold dead hands. Only if you can beat me. I see you, Dev. I see you. You're in the league, and nobody's getting that jersey. That jersey's mine. But if you think you can take it, get a Fantasy Sports Advice Network.com membership. Get a pro membership, and come join me in the JSN League.
JSN League. You got the JSN League. You are one lucky man. I got James Cook. He is a rival of my Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm representing the James Cook League. So yeah, folks, get your memberships and be sure to follow us and become one of our paid members. And yeah, you'll have all the perks that you need, like the jersey leagues where, you're going to get a signed jersey if you end up winning it. So
also the fantasy forecast merch,
yeah.
Dynasty Pulse merch. I mean, it's all there.
Let's go. All right, Schultzy, let's run these clips for our spotlights. And Bigz, I know what your guy looks like, so I'm excited to hear all about him.
Now, there's one guy that I'm prioritizing at the top of my list, and that is Seattle Seahawks quarterback Jalen Milroe. Now, here's the deal with Milroe. Milroe is a very green rookie, not a lot of reps in college, coming out of Alabama, but hey, Alabama recruit. That means something. He's mostly a runner at this point, but what we know from watching Jalen Hurts over the years, watching Justin Fields over the years, watching what Bo Nix added to his fantasy totals with his running on the ground, Josh Allen, etc., is that as soon as Jalen Milroe gets in the game, he's going to be using his feet and racking up fantasy points. Now, the other piece of that, and we talked about this before, was Clint Kubiak. Now, if you think back to 2024, the beginning of the season, the New Orleans Saints, Clint Kubiak was the offensive coordinator. And what did the Saints with Derek Carr do? They started putting up 40 points a game until everybody just fell out with injuries. So we also know what Sam Darnold brings to the table. He put the Vikings on a playoff run to go along with their incredible defense, and then signed a free agent contract with the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks gave him a bag. He's their starting quarterback. Jalen Milroe is not going to get on the field unless they try and do some, kind of like joker stuff with him, maybe run some RPOs and kind of like a little sub package. But that's not really going to win you any fantasy weeks or anything like that. But if something happens to Sam Darnold, Jalen Milroe is immediately going to be thrust onto the field, and he's going to have that cheat code in fantasy. And everybody's going to be clamoring for him on the waiver wire, so stash him on your roster, and you don't have to pay the price.
I really, really like this call, Bigz. And I'm surprised because, I'm surprised that, you defended Sam Darnold so vividly there because, there's some sharp people out there that have got, Milroe pegged as, starting by week 6 over Sam Darnold. And it's tough because you know what that Clint Kubiak offense can produce for a quarterback, like you mentioned in your tweet today. I think you mentioned that in one of your tweets. How he propelled Derek Carr his first couple of weeks last year to fantasy relevance. I think he was a top 10 quarterback under that system. So I don't see why Sam Darnold can't come in and do something, similar to what a Derek Carr can do. So you've kind of convinced me to stay my ground, don't sell off my Sam Darnold shares. So
I've been saying that since the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
He got outworked by a pretty darn good Detroit Lions offense. People have bad games. That doesn't mean he's a bad player, and everybody completely wrote him off that week. And going into this season, everybody is totally out on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is exactly what Clint Kubiak wants in that offense. In fact, he was with the 49ers in the Shanahan offense before he went to Minnesota in Kevin O'Connell's Shanahan offense, and now he's in Seattle in Shanahan's offense. And obviously, this is not a Sam Darnold segment, but don't sleep on Darnold. I love Jalen Milroe as a handcuff to Sam Darnold, but I'm certainly drafting Sam Darnold at some points when I get a chance. Think of the squad that you can put together with everybody that you draft in the first 12 rounds before you take Sam Darnold. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you grab Jalen Milroe as the insurance policy.
And if Milroe were to get into the lineup, he would be more than an insurance policy. He'd be better than the actual investment. So I think that Milroe is a smash stash. He's a guy that
Stash.
A stash? We'll call him the Fu Manchu, if you will. He's the guy I really like in this situation and then moving forward in the Seahawks. I think he's the future there at quarterback down the line. I think he's got very much a similar timeline and path to like a Jalen Hurts. Like Bigz mentioned earlier, he compared him to Jalen Hurts, and I see that trajectory being that well. I think he throws the ball pretty good, and his elusiveness is great. So let's get into some more spotlights. Schultz, do you have anything else?
The only thing I got to say is Jalen Milroe is bigger than most NFL running backs, and he's faster than most NFL running backs. Draft him.
Draft him. All right. All right. So my number one stash, and he's creating a lot of buzz right now. He's generating a lot of headlines in fantasy circles, and that's exactly what we want to hear. But he's my stash player this summer, and that is Kyle Williams. The Patriots made a real investment in him in the early rounds to get that draft capital, and he steps into a wide receiver room that's aging, inconsistent, and wide open behind Stephon Diggs and Demario Douglas, while Diggs is returning from an ACL tear and pushing 32, and others like Bourne and Holland, they're placeholders at this point. Williams brings a different dynamic, yak ability, separation skills, and the potential to become Drake May's favorite target as soon as the rookie settles in. So Williams' collegiate career, the numbers, they jump off the page to me, but he had a late season breakout. He flashes NFL caliber traits, over 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns last year. And he's got some traits that really pop out, 1.7 to 2.5 yards per route run versus Power 5 defenses, showing his real improvement on the higher end competition. Third round wide receivers rarely hit early, but the 2023 class that showed Josh Downs, Tank Dell, and Garrett Wilson, not Garrett Wilson, but these guys, they showed in the right spot. And Drake May, he ranks among the most accurate passers, and I'm thinking that this connection is going to be great. I think that the Patriots, they found their guy, and I'm willing to go out on a limb here, and I think that Kyle Williams is not only going to come in and be a force for the Patriots. I think he's going to finish this year as a top 36 wide receiver right out of the gate. And I really like this situation here for Kyle Williams and the Patriots.
I do too. And I have so many Kyle Williams shares. It's ridiculous.
So do you think he can, crack the lineup, obviously, but, perform at like a wide receiver 3 level?
Absolutely. I think he can do better than that, especially with his yak ability. I mean, you know that Pop Douglas is going to pop, and you know what Stephon Diggs can do. But Drake May is going to have a prolific season. The Patriots and Josh McDaniels are going to be throwing the ball all over the yard, and Kyle Williams is going to be a beneficiary of that.
Absolutely, I think
especially if you're drafting him as your wide receiver 7 or whatever.
Yeah, if you can get him anywhere, I suggest doing it because there's some ambiguity in that one wide receiver room. So yeah, capitalize on it, especially because we're all really high on Drake May right now, headed into his sophomore year.
I do love him more in Dynasty than I do in redraft, but I still love him in redraft.
Yeah, I think as a rookie wide receiver, and especially in this class, he's one of the ones that is going to be at the end of this year. He's going to be at the upper echelon of that class for sure if he's not already.
He's going to be our 2025 Jalen McMillan.
There you have it. All right, Schulte, let's get into your spotlight, bro.
Let's do it.
I'm sorry. Breaking news. Breaking news. I'm watching football.
Whew. Woo-wee. You're drafting players with the starting letter, first letter of their name starts with a T.
I already did.
On fire because Trey Lance threw a touchdown.
Isn't that funny? Because I saw a Twitter post today or an X post that was like, Trey Lance finally making it to Canton. Like all the drafters that were high on him expected him to go. So there you go. He made
Schulte, who's your guy?
Well, another tight end here, and this is a guy coming into the second year of his NFL career, and he got 5 balls as a rookie. But my confidence in him has not wavered at all. I loved him coming out of the draft. He was a second-round draft pick, and that matters. And I'm talking about Ben Sinnott, man. I just absolutely love this guy as a player. First of all, I'm ready for the Zach Ertz cliff to hit us. Like, it's coming. It's going to happen. It's going to happen hard. And I think Sinnott is ready to take that spot when given the chance. We had a game last year, I want to say like week 12-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, where Zach Ertz went down with a concussion, and it was Sinnott who stepped in and kind of took the snaps, the reserve snaps here. He took the lead on that. So as a rookie, they clearly had confidence in him among the rest of the room to give him the majority of snaps after Ertz went down. So no reason to think that's not going to change. It's only going to get better for him. And in the instance of that happening, the Ertz cliff I'm talking, it is a real possibility that he gets thrust into the second leading target getter for this offense. And I'm not even talking about the news with the Terry potentially requesting a trade, which was like hours ago at the time of recording this. And that just makes the case even stronger. I think there's a possibility, especially if Terry gets traded, that they may be calling on Sinnott sooner, and even with Ertz on the field. I just love his game. He's just a giant lumbering dude. And I honestly think his game profile is very similarly to Gronk, which is crazy to comp anybody to Gronk. But it's the way this guy moves. You get him the ball in his hands, he's going to make you miss. Like, it's nothing flashy. Like, he's not over here putting highlight jukes on and spin moves. But, like, he's going to find just some weird caveman way to get by you. And it works. He's got a ton of clips of shedding defenders and making dudes miss that. It screams Gronk to me. I think given the opportunity, Ben Sinnott is going to absolutely pop. And at tight end 42, it's absolutely worth a chance.
Absolutely worth a chance. I love Ben Sinnott.
Yeah, I mean, aging Ertz. There's, the Terry McLaurin news. I'm pretty high on Debo this year, but I think that Sinnott has got that opportunity. So yeah, bit Schulte.
Let me just address this Terry McLaurin stuff real quick. The Commanders are not trading Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin asked for a trade today, and it was a leverage play. He wants a new contract. He's due for a new contract. He had his career year last year. It's exactly the time for him to A, hold out, B, then hold in, then C, request a trade. It's just how it works, and he's not going anywhere. They're going to sign him. He wants a contract somewhere in the range of $30 million. That's around Tyreek Hill. The Commanders don't want to pay him a lot of money because he's 30 years old. He wants a 4-year deal. I think he wants 4 years, $35 million. Tyreek is getting 30. They should probably come to some agreement at like 3 years, $32 million, something like that. It might get done before the season starts. It might not. Ayuk did the same thing. He didn't go anywhere. Debo did the same thing. He didn't go anywhere. It's just part of the process. So put your alarmist hat away. McLaurin's not going anywhere.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Still drafting it.
Still drafting it.
Yeah. That's Lane Larison. What just happened?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm surprised he didn't go that route, Bigz, because he's actually getting some steam here in camp, and I'm really liking that situation because, he could be a very good tool for the Patriots, who like to use, a lot of versatility in their backfield, and Larison has got that.
I've talked about him so much. I'm not ever going to – I don't know if I'm going to be able to go a show without saying his name. So as long as viewers are viewing, they know Lan Larison's name, or at least they've heard it before. Him getting reps with the ones was just like the highlight of my last couple of days, and he's not going to be the RB1.
No,
it's not going to happen. But just watching that news come out of the Patriots camp was just like so validating.
Their eyes are on him, obviously. I mean, he's getting reps with the ones, and you don't hear that very often, especially from somebody who is undrafted. So,
to be fair, it was during walkthroughs. It wasn't like, but he did have a nice touchdown yesterday. That was with the twos, but today he was with the ones. It's kind of similar to the Rams rookie
Jarquez Hunter.
Yeah, Jarquez Hunter with the the little walkthrough. He's with the ones, and everybody was because you give the vets a day off and put your practice squad guys out.
Someone's got to do it,
right.
All right, folks. What a great show. The next time you see us, we'll be at the Expo, Bigz and I, and Schulte will be, going remote, but he'll be there next year with us, and we're going to be doing a show from Canton. So excited to put that out there, folks, for y'all. And remember, if you're not there in Canton, be sure to try and get out next year, because it's a great time. It's not just for experts. It is for everybody. We want more, avid players there, talking football. It's a great experience, a great time. It's a great community event. And Bigz, you got anything more to add to that?
Poker tournament, karaoke, cornhole tournament, nights at George's bar. Like it's a ridiculous fun place to be. And hey, even if you're not a content creator, you can go and meet all of the content creators that you watch. I watch so much content, and I go see, like, I get to meet Joey Wright and Jax Falcone and all the guys that that I follow. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm there in a work capacity, but there's still a little fan in me.
I love it. All right, folks, from all of us at the Fantasy Sports Advice Network,
we hope you win.
We hope you win.
Hope you win.